Pelosi Nadler alliance strained by impeachment divide. Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler, two longtime allies, are clashing over whether to begin an impeachment inquiry against President Donald Trump, a sign of how toxic the split over Trump has become for House Democrats. Nadler has twice urged Pelosi in private to open a formal impeachment inquiry, but the Speaker, backed by the majority of her leadership team and her caucus, has maintained that impeaching the president would backfire on Democrats without meaningful Republican support. And there is no sign. Pelosi and Nadler, two veterans of the impeachment drama surrounding President Bill Clinton 20 years ago, appear to be drawing opposite lessons from that experience. And the divide between, I think they are articulating the different impulses within the caucus, and also within each of us, Republic. Jamie Raskin D. Put yourself in the position of somebody in the House of Representatives today, added Raskin, a Judiciary Committee member who wants to launch an impeachment inquiry. There are a million. Tuesday, though, will feature a key step that all Democrats can agree on. The full House will vote on empowering committee chairs to enforce subpoenas issued to top current and former Trump administration officials, including Attorney General William Barr and former White House counsel Don McGahn. The resolution will, in part, allow the Judiciary Committee to sue Barr and McGahn in federal court to secure former Special Counsel Robert Mueller's unredacted report and underlying evidence from his Russia investigation, as well as McGahn's public testimony. But a majority of Democratic members of Nadler's committee favor impeaching Trump, which puts intense pressure on the chairman for more drastic action. Pelosi and other top Democrats argue that most in their party don't support such a move, especially with no significant GOP support. Even if the Democrat, Nadler and Pelosi sparred over the issue during a private meeting last week. Nadler again put, some Judiciary Committee members are hinting at a more serious divide between the two lawmakers. But senior Democrat, I think Chairman Nadler has done a very good job, particularly considering the parameters under which he has to work, said Republic. Steve Cohen D. Tuesday's vote, the first enforcement mechanism to hit the House floor since Mueller's report was released nearly 2 months ago, is unlikely to calm tensions, even as House Democrats continue to secure key victories in federal court and in their negotiations with the Justice Department over access to Mueller's files. That's in part because Pelosi's allies are using those wins as evidence that their current strategy is working, and that impeachment isn't necessary yet. We're winning as it relates to the strategy that we're pursuing, and the fact that the Department of Justice has agreed to provide documents and allow inspection of a more unredacted version of the report means we should stay the course, said House Democratic Caucus Chairman Hakeem Jeffries DNY. A member of the At the core of the conflict is a sharp disagreement between Pelosi and Nadler over the intensity and speed with which Democrats investigate Trump and how that decision will reverberate in next year's election. Pelosi speaks frequently about how she empowers her committee chairmen, allowing them to make decisions about what legislation they pursue and how they run their respective panels. With Nadler's panel, however, she has been much more personally involved in the committee's decision-making process, according to multiple sources, even compared with panels such as Oversight and Intelligence, which are also pursuing potentially explosive investigations targeting Trump. The Speaker's allies, though, assert that Pelosi has been hands-off with the Judiciary Committee except when it comes to her disagreement with Nadler over impeachment. Opening an impeachment, the squabble has put a strain on what has generally been a cordial and respectful relationship. They have served together in the House for nearly 30 years. Nadler, Pelosi, in turn, stayed out of the race between Nadler and Republic. Zoe Lofgren D. In the 7 weeks since Mueller's findings were made public, House Democrats have been focused almost exclusively on battling the Trump administration over how much of the Mueller report lawmakers can view. When and whether Mueller, those protracted legal battles were out of Nadler's control, due in large part to the Trump administration's unwillingness to comply with congressional subpoenas. Nadler addressed, "It is true that fact witnesses have been ordered by the White House not to appear before this committee," Nadler said. "But we'll get them." Still, Democrats on the committee have privately complained that the process battles do little to educate the public, and even Monday's hearing with Dean barely made a splash. Instead, most obviously that's not going to be effective if they didn't see that, acknowledged Republic. Ted Lieu I've expressed my personal opinions to the Speaker, Lieu said. It will be a decision. Judiciary Committee Democrats largely remain united behind Nadler, saying privately that they recognize he is in an impossible position. You caught between a majority of the panel's Democratic members supporting an impeachment inquiry and the Speaker remaining steadfastly opposed. To some extent they're on the same page, Republic. Cedric Richmond, Kyle Cheney contributed to this report.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.